Archivist Kethamol moved his 6 arms across the glowing screens in the Great Archive. The tall building on Centauri Prime held the history of thousands of worlds. His job was to sort through old stories and myths from dead civilizations. Today felt different, though. Something was bothering him. The Vrek scholar had been doing this work for 30 years. His kind lived much longer than most species in the galaxy. They were good at keeping records because they never forgot anything important. But today, Kethmol found something that made no sense. "Computer, show me all mentions of humans and Earth," he said out loud. The machine beeped and suddenly his screens filled with files. Lots of files. More than he expected. Kethmol's compound eyes went wide as he counted them. 47 different civilizations had written about these humans. All 47 were now extinct. That was strange enough. But what made it really weird was that no planet called Earth existed anywhere in the galaxy. Kethmol had memorized every star chart. He knew every world that had life on it. There was no Earth. He opened the first file. It came from the Corvani Empire, a warrior race that had ruled 12 star systems before they disappeared 3,000 years ago. The translation was rough, but clear enough. The humans fight like no other species. When we destroy their ships, they study the wreckage. When we kill their soldiers, the survivors learn new tactics. They do not fear death. They fear not learning from it. Kethmol felt his chitinous plates rattle. That was not normal behavior for any species he knew about. Most beings avoided conflict when possible. They valued their lives more than victory. The second file came from the Theta Collective, a hive mind that had once controlled 50 worlds. Their records were more detailed. Earth warriors adapt faster than our projections allow. They take our weapons and improve them within cycles. They study our battle formations and create counters we never considered. Recommendation: avoid contact with human colonies at all costs. This was getting more interesting and more frightening. Kethmol opened more files. The pattern was always the same. Every civilization described humans as relentless learners who turned every defeat into knowledge for future victories. The peaceful melody had left the most disturbing record of all. Their species never fought wars. They preferred to negotiate and find compromise. But even they had written warnings about humans. We offered them our friendship and knowledge freely. They accepted both with gratitude. Then they asked questions. So many questions. About our technology, our weaknesses, our fears. We thought they were simply curious. We were wrong. They were preparing. Kethmol leaned back in his chair. His mind was racing now. These could not be coincidences or shared myths. The details were too specific, the warnings too similar. But how could 47 different civilizations all encounter the same species, when that species did not exist? He decided to dig deeper. The computer had more files, older ones. Some were so ancient that the translation programs struggled with the language. But Kethmol was patient. He was very good at his job. What he found made his blood turn cold. The oldest record came from a civilization so ancient that even their name was lost to time. But their warning was clear enough. They call their world the third planet from their star. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. Beautiful and deadly. The humans who live there are not like us. When we are tired, we rest. When we are hurt, we heal. When we are defeated, we surrender. Humans do not understand surrender. They understand only learning and adapting and growing stronger. Kethmol realized something terrible. These records spanned thousands of years. If they were true, then humans had been fighting galactic civilizations for a very long time. And they had been winning. But where were they now? Why did no current star charts show Earth? Why had no one in the modern galaxy ever met a human? He ran one more search. This time he looked for the most recent mentions of humans or Earth. What he found made him want to run to the council chambers immediately. The last recorded contact with humans was exactly 412 years ago. A small exploration. Fleet had reported finding a primitive world with bipedal inhabitants in early industrial development. The report noted that the world would be suitable for future colonization, once the inhabitants advance sufficiently. Then nothing. No follow-up. Reports, no further contact. It was as if the humans had simply vanished from galactic awareness. Kethmal gathered all his files and requested an immediate meeting with the Galactic Council. This was too important to wait. If humans were real, if they had been fighting and learning for thousands of years, then their disappearance from the galaxy's attention was not an accident. It was a strategy. As he prepared his presentation, one thought kept echoing in his mind. What does a species that learns from every defeat do when they have 400 years of silence to prepare for their next encounter? The answer terrified him. They get ready to win permanently. 3 months had passed since Kethmal presented his findings to the Galactic Council. The meeting had not gone well. Chancellor Vextai had dismissed his research with a wave of her crystal hand. The other council members had laughed at the idea of mythical humans hiding somewhere in space. Shared stories, they had said. All primitive civilizations create similar myths about perfect warriors. It helps them feel brave. Kethmal had returned to his archive feeling defeated, but he kept the files open on his computer. Something deep inside told him this was not over. He was right. Communications specialist Tharnok was having a boring night shift at the Rigel 7 monitoring station. His job was to listen for signals from unknown sources. Most nights, he heard, nothing but space static and the occasional merchant ship radio chatter. Tonight was different. At exactly midnight station time, every sensor on his board lit up like a festival display. Tharnok nearly fell out of his chair. The readings were impossible. Someone was broadcasting a massive signal from the Sol system, but the Sol system was empty space. Every star chart said so. There was nothing there but a small yellow star and some dead rocks. Admiral Vorthon to the communications deck immediately. Tharnok called over the station intercom. His voice was shaking. Admiral Vorthon arrived within minutes. The Hegemony Fleet Commander was a veteran of 12 campaigns. Not much surprised him anymore. But when he saw the readings, his face went pale. "What am I looking at, Specialist?" "Sir, it's a coordinated transmission burst from coordinates that should be empty space. The signal is incredibly powerful. It's being broadcast on 47 different frequencies simultaneously." Admiral Vorthon studied the data. The signal pattern was unlike anything in their database. It was clearly artificial, clearly intelligent, but completely unknown. "What's the message content?" Tharnok's hands moved quickly over his controls. "That's the strangest part, sir. The transmission contains mathematical sequences, star charts, and text in multiple languages. But, sir, these are all dead languages, from extinct civilizations." The Admiral felt ice form in his stomach. "Show me." The main screen filled with translated text. Line after line of messages in languages that had not been spoken for thousands of years. The Corvani military cipher, ancient Theta collective communication protocols, even the poetic script of the long-dead melody. But every message in every language said the same thing. "We remember those who came before. We have learned from their stories. We are ready to meet those who remain." Admiral Vorthon read the message 3 times. Each time, it became more disturbing. Someone had not only learned 47 dead languages, but they knew about the extinct civilizations that had spoken them. "Specialist, how often does this transmission repeat?" "Every 12 hours, sir. It started 3 days ago. Same message, same frequencies, same power level each time." The Admiral made a decision that would change galactic history. "Send an emergency. Signal to Centauri Prime. Full priority. The Galactic Council needs to see this immediately." Within hours, every major government in the galaxy was analyzing the transmission. The message was clear enough, but its implications were terrifying. Someone was out there. Someone who knew about civilizations that had been extinct for millennia. Someone who had been watching and learning. The emergency council session was unlike any in galactic history. Representatives from dozens of species gathered in the Great Chamber. The air was thick with fear and confusion. Chancellor Vextai called the session to order with shaking hands. "We have all seen the transmission. We have all read the translations. The question before us is simple. What do we do? Admiral Vorthon stood to address the assembly. Council members, I have served in the hegemony fleet for 40 years. I have seen first contact situations before. This is different. Whoever sent this signal has been preparing for a very long time. Preparing for what? Asked the representative. From the Altair colonies. To reveal themselves, the admiral replied. Think about it. They know dead languages. They know about extinct civilizations. They have been studying us for generations. This transmission is not a greeting. It is an announcement. In the back of the chamber, Kethamal sat quietly. His research was no longer being dismissed as mythology. The humans were real, and they were ready to make contact. I recommend we send a small expeditionary fleet to investigate. Admiral Vorthon continued. If these beings are peaceful, we can establish normal diplomatic relations. If they are hostile, we need to know what we are facing. Chancellor Vextai's crystals pulsed with nervous energy. The decision was unanimous. They would send ships to the Sol system to meet whoever was broadcasting the signal. As the council session ended, Kethamal approached Admiral Vorthon with a data pad. Admiral, you should read this before you go. The pad contained every file Kethamal had discovered about humans. Every warning from 47 extinct civilizations. Every description of their learning abilities and their refusal to surrender. Admiral Vorthon read through the files twice. When he finished, he looked at Kethamal with a new understanding. They have been silent for 400 years, he said quietly. Yes, Kethamal replied. The question is, what have they been doing with all that time? The admiral had no answer, but he was about to find out. The expeditionary fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Admiral Vorthon expected to find empty space or maybe a few primitive settlements. What he saw instead made his heart stop beating. Earth hung in space before them like a blue and green jewel. Swirling white clouds covered parts of the surface. It was beautiful and very much alive. But that was impossible. Long-range sensors had always shown this system as empty space. Admiral, his sensor officer called out with a shaky voice. I'm reading massive energy signatures all around us. Before Vorthon could respond, space itself seemed to ripple. Huge structures shimmered into view like ghosts becoming solid. Space stations, defense platforms, and ships bigger than anything in the galactic fleet surrounded them completely. They had flown directly into a trap. Unknown vessels, this is Commander Sungmin of the Terran Defense Fleet. You are now in human space. State your intentions. The voice came through their communication system with perfect clarity. The speaker appeared on their main screen moments later. He looked ordinary enough. 2 arms, 2 legs, dark hair, and calm brown eyes. But something about his stillness made every alien on the bridge nervous. Admiral Vorthon cleared his throat. Commander Sungmin, I am Admiral Vorthon of the Galactic Council Expeditionary Fleet. We received your transmission and came seeking peaceful first contact. The human's expression did not change. He studied the Admiral for a long moment before speaking again. Admiral, we have been monitoring your civilization for 437 years. We know the name of every ship in your fleet. We know what weapons you carry. We know about the emergency beacon you just tried to activate. We also know that your government classifies us as mythological beings. The words hit Vorthon like ice water. You have been watching us? We have been learning from you, Sungmin corrected. While your species grew comfortable with peace, we studied every aspect of your society, your technology, your politics, your military tactics, your weaknesses. More human ships appeared on the view screen. Their designs were sleek and strange, incorporating technology that should not exist. Some of the ships seemed to shift shape as they moved, their hulls adapting like living things. This is impossible, whispered the fleet's science officer. Our sensors show no advanced civilization in this system. Commander Sungmin heard the comment. Officer, your sensors show exactly what we want them to show. Earth does not appear on your star charts because we ensure it does not appear. We have been invisible to your detection systems for centuries. A new voice joined the conversation. A human woman with short black hair appeared beside Commander Sungmin. "Admiral, I am Lieutenant Hyejin, Tactical Officer. Perhaps you would like to know how we remained hidden for so long?" The view screen changed to show a map of the galaxy. Red dots appeared throughout known space, hundreds of them scattered across every major star sector. "These are human colonies and observation posts," Lieutenant Hyejin explained calmly. "We have been living on uninhabited worlds in your territory for over 2 centuries. Your security networks never detected us because we designed our technology specifically to hide from your sensors." Admiral Vorthan felt his world crumbling around him. "You have colonies in our space?" "We have colonies everywhere," Commander Sungmin replied. "We needed to understand every species we might eventually encounter. The Corvani Empire taught us about military strength. The Theta Collective showed us the power of coordinated thinking. The Melody demonstrated the value of patience and planning." The Admiral's blood ran cold. "You knew about the extinct civilizations?" "We fought them," Sungmin said simply. "All of them. Over the course of several thousand years, we encountered 47 different galactic civilizations. Some were peaceful. Some were warlike. All of them eventually tried to conquer or control us. What happened to them? They underestimated us. They thought humans were just another primitive species to be conquered or guided. They were wrong. We learn from every battle, every defeat, every victory. Each civilization that fought us made us stronger." Lieutenant Hyejin touched her control panel. "Would you like a demonstration of what we learned, Admiral?" Before Vorthan could answer, the human ships began moving. They flowed through space like schools of fish, changing formation with impossible coordination. Their hulls shifted color and shape, adapting to optimal combat configurations in real time. The weapon systems that appeared were beyond anything in galactic databases. Energy weapons that bent space itself. Projectile systems that fired smart ammunition capable of independent tactical decisions. Defense shields that learned from each attack and adapted accordingly. "This is what happens when humanity has 400 years to prepare," Commander Sungmin explained. "We studied every weapon you ever built. We analyzed every battle your ancestors ever fought. We learned from every mistake 47 civilizations made when they encountered us." The demonstration ended with human ships in perfect combat formation around the galactic fleet. Not a single shot had been fired, but the message was unmistakable. Resistance would be useless. "Admiral," Commander Sungmin said quietly, "your people have lived in peace for so long that you forgot what war really means." "We never forgot. We have been preparing for this moment since the day we decided to disappear from your awareness." Vorthan realized the horrible truth. Humanity had not been hiding in fear. They had been preparing for conquest. The galaxy's greatest threat had been growing stronger in the shadows while everyone else grew soft and comfortable. The age of galactic peace was over. Commander Sungmin gestured to Lieutenant Hyejin. "Show our guests the Prometheus station." The main screen shifted to display something that made every alien on the bridge gasp in terror. A massive structure orbited Earth's moon, stretching across hundreds of kilometers of space. It was clearly a shipyard, but unlike anything they had ever seen. Thousands of human workers moved in coordinated patterns around partially built vessels. The ships under construction were enormous, with designs that seemed to blend multiple technologies from different civilizations. But they were wrong somehow, improved in ways that made them more dangerous than their original forms. "This is one of 37 production facilities we operate throughout the galaxy," Commander Sungmin explained with the same calm tone he might use to discuss the weather. "We have been building our fleet for over 2 centuries. Admiral Vorthan stared at the screen in disbelief. 37? Where are the others?" Lieutenant Hyejin smiled for the first time since the conversation began. It was not a pleasant expression. "Admiral, we have shipyards in the asteroid fields of the Vega system. We have research stations hidden in the gas clouds of the Rigel sector. We have colony ships disguised as mining operations in 12 different star systems." The screen changed again, showing location after location of human installations throughout galactic space. Each one had been invisible to alien sensors, hidden in plain sight for decades or centuries. Your security networks are impressive, Commander Sung-min continued, but they were designed to detect known technologies. We built everything from scratch using principles your ancestors never discovered. Admiral Vorthon reached for his emergency communicator to warn the hegemony fleet. His hand froze when Lieutenant Haijin shook her head. I would not recommend that, Admiral. We have been integrated into your communication networks for 40 years. Every message you send passes through systems we control. Every military plan your governments make, we read before your own commanders do. That is impossible, Vorthon whispered. Let me show you something, Commander Sung-min said. He nodded to his tactical officer. The screen displayed the Admiral's own personnel file, complete with classified information that should have been accessible only to the highest levels of hegemony command. His service record, his family history, even his personal psychological evaluation were all there. We know you have 2 children on Altair Prime, Lieutenant Haijin said gently. Your daughter studies xenobiology at the Central University. Your son works as a communications engineer on the orbital defense platform. Both are safe, by the way. The implied threat was clear without being spoken. Admiral Vorthon felt sick. Now would you like to see what we can do with 400 years of preparation? Commander Sung-min asked. Without waiting for an answer, he ordered a tactical demonstration. The human ships around them began to move in ways that defied everything Admiral Vorthon knew about space combat. They flowed like liquid metal, their formations shifting and adapting continuously. No 2 ships moved the same way, yet they were perfectly coordinated. Traditional galactic warfare relies on predictable patterns, Commander Sung-min explained, as his ships danced through space. Formation Alpha, Formation Beta, standard attack vectors, standard defense grids. We studied them all. One of the human vessels approached the alien flagship. As it drew closer, its hull began to change. What had looked like a standard cruiser transformed into something completely different. Weapons ports opened in places where sensors said there was solid armor. The ship's entire structure reconfigured itself in real time. Adaptive hull technology, Lieutenant Haijin noted. We learned this from studying the Morphic Empire's remains. They were extinct before your current civilizations evolved, but their ship designs were fascinating. Another human ship demonstrated its weapon systems. Energy beams fired from multiple points, but each beam behaved differently. Some curved around obstacles, others split into multiple targeting streams, and still others seemed to learn from the target's defensive responses and adapt their attack patterns accordingly. Smart weapons, Commander Sung-min said. Each projectile contains a tactical AI that can make independent decisions. If you try to jam them, they switch to backup guidance systems. If you try to shoot them down, they take evasive action. If you try to hide from them, they call for help from other projectiles. The demonstration continued for 20 minutes. The human ship showed technologies that combined the best innovations from dozens of extinct civilizations, all improved and integrated in ways their original creators never imagined. Finally, Commander Sung-min called his ships back into formation. They surrounded the galactic fleet in a perfect sphere, their weapons powered but not yet aimed directly at the alien vessels. This is what we have been building while your civilization enjoyed peace, he said quietly. We learned from every species that ever fought us. We took their best ideas and made them better. We found their weaknesses and eliminated them from our own designs. Admiral Vorthon found his voice. What do you want from us? We want you to understand that resistance is pointless, Commander Sung-min replied. We are not here to destroy you. We are here to bring order to a galaxy that has forgotten what strength means. Your governments have grown soft. Your militaries have grown weak. Your people have forgotten that survival requires constant vigilance, Lieutenant Haijin added. We spent 400 years learning how to defeat you without firing a shot. The demonstration you just witnessed is nothing compared to what we are truly capable of. The message was clear. Humanity had returned not as explorers or traders, but as conquerors who had spent centuries preparing for this moment. The galaxy's comfortable peace was about to end. Chancellor Vextai stood in the great chamber of the Galactic Council, her crystalline body shaking with fear. Reports were flooding in from every corner of civilized space. The same impossible message was being repeated on every world, every space station, every colony. Human ships had appeared everywhere at once. The emergency session had been called. Within hours of the first sightings, representatives from dozens of species filled the chamber, all talking at once, all demanding answers that no one had. "Order! We must have order!" Chancellor Vextai called out, her voice echoing through the great hall. The main screen activated, showing the same transmission that was being broadcast across the galaxy. A human in military uniform appeared, standing calmly with his hands behind his back. His nameplate read, Colonel Jin Wu. "Leaders of the Galactic Council," the human began, his voice carrying easily through their translation systems. "I am Colonel Jin Wu of the Terran Colonial Authority. For over 4 centuries, humanity has watched your civilization from the shadows." The chamber fell silent. Every representative leaned forward to hear the words that would change their lives forever. "We have observed your governments grow weak with comfort. We have watched your militaries forget the lessons of war. We have seen your people become soft and unprepared for the realities of survival in a dangerous universe." Colonel Jinwoo paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. "We offer you a simple choice. Accept integration under human leadership, or face conflict with an enemy that has spent 400 years preparing for this moment. We do not seek to destroy you. We seek to make you strong again." The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. "This is madness," whispered the representative from the Centauri Federation. "They cannot seriously expect us to surrender our sovereignty to a species we thought was mythical." Chancellor Vextai tried to maintain order, but panic was spreading through the chamber like wildfire. Some representatives demanded immediate military action. Others argued for negotiation. A few suggested surrender. In the Great Archive, Kathmal sat alone among his files, finally understanding the pattern he had discovered months ago. The records of extinct civilizations were not just history. They were documentation of humanity's previous attempts at galactic contact. The humans had tried peaceful integration before, multiple times across thousands of years. Each time they had been met with suspicion, hostility, or attempts at conquest. Each time, they had been forced to defend themselves. Each time they had learned from the experience. Now they were back. But this time, they were not asking for acceptance. They were demanding submission. Reports continued to stream in from across the galaxy. Human ships maintained positions around every major world, their weapons powered but not yet firing. The message was clear without words. Submit or face the consequences. The hegemony fleet commanders sent desperate messages to all military installations. All units converge on the core worlds immediately. Prepare for combat operations. But it was too late for military solutions. The humans had been inside their networks for decades. Every order the fleet commanders gave, human tactical computers had already analyzed and countered. Every ship movement was predicted and prepared for. On the frontier world of Kepler-7, Governor Min-jun received a personal visit from a human diplomatic team. The leader introduced herself as Captain So-young of the Terran Integration Force. "Governor, your world has a choice to make," Captain So-young said politely. "You can accept human administration peacefully, or you can resist and face the consequences." "What, consequences?" Governor Min-jun asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. Captain So-young gestured to the window. In orbit above the planet, human warships had taken positions alongside the existing defense platforms. But these were not the ships from the demonstration. These were larger, more advanced, clearly designed for planetary bombardment. "Governor, we have studied every military conflict in galactic history. We know exactly how to defeat your defenses, with minimal casualties. But we would prefer cooperation to conquest." Similar conversations were taking place on hundreds of worlds throughout the galaxy. Human representatives offered the same choice everywhere: peaceful integration or military occupation. Most governors chose integration. The transformation began immediately. Human administrators arrived on every world, bringing new technologies and new rules. They were not cruel conquerors, but they were absolutely firm in their expectations. Crime rates dropped to almost zero as human security forces implemented monitoring systems that made illegal activity nearly impossible. Economic productivity increased as human industrial techniques replaced older methods. Even education improved as human teachers shared knowledge that had been lost for centuries. But freedom, as the galaxy had known it, was over. Citizens were required to carry identification at all times. Travel between worlds required approval from human authorities. Communications were monitored for security purposes. Political gatherings needed permits that were rarely granted. The humans called it order. Many of the governed called it oppression. In the Galactic Council chamber, Chancellor Vextai made the final decision. With human ships holding position around Centauri Prime, resistance was pointless. The Galactic Council formally recognizes the Terran Colonial Authority as the governing body of civilized space, she announced, her voice breaking with each word. Colonel Jinwoo appeared on the screen one final time. Thank you for your wisdom, Chancellor. The transition period will be difficult, but necessary. Humanity has returned to bring strength back to the galaxy. Under our guidance, your children will never know the weakness that made conquest possible. The age of galactic independence was over. The age of human order had begun. And in the deepest files of the Great Archive, Kethmol added one final entry to his research. They were never myths. They were warnings we chose to ignore. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.